When Jeremy Clarkson was arrested outside his diddly squat farm last Tuesday, Why are
you here, Mr. Clarkson?
To support farmers.
Right. Are you angry?
It's difficult to be angry on somebody else's behalf. That's like being...
Many dismissed it as just another celebrity scandal. But within hours, this local incident would trigger an unprecedented chain of events.
Someone else's behalf.
Right.
Many dismissed it as just another celebrity scandal. But within hours, this local incident would trigger an unprecedented chain of events.
It's not about you. It's not about your farm and the
No.
fact that you bought a farm to
No.
avoid inheritance tax.
That would expose the deep fractures in British politics. What happened next wasn't just about a former Top Gear host. It became a symbol of the growing divide between Britain's political elite and its people. When Elon Musk unexpectedly stepped into the fray, his intervention didn't just support Clarkson. It uncovered a truth about Keir Starmer's leadership that nobody was prepared for. Now, with over 2 million signatures demanding change and farmers across the nation mobilizing in protest,
To support the farmers. It's that simple. So they need all the help they can get, really.
witnessing what could be the biggest political upheaval since Brexit. This is the story of how one arrest exposed the crisis at the heart of British democracy. Dawn broke over the Cotswolds last Tuesday.
You know, we all make mistakes in life, and I think it's time for them to say, you know what, we've cut this one up a bit and back down. That's my view.
When local residents reported unusual activity at Diddley Squat Farm. At precisely 7:15 a.m., 3 police vehicles arrived at Jeremy Clarkson's famous farming enterprise. The official reason given was a complaint about Clarkson's vocal criticism of local planning regulations.
Claire, what would you like to say?
I'd like to say I'm in a situation where I've actually been quite lucky. My dad has a farm. He inherited from his father. It's been in the family for about 1,000 years. I don't work the farm.
Whoa, slow down. 1,000 years?
Yeah, about 1,000 years.
That's
I was
fantastic.
that had prevented him from expanding his farm shop. As footage from nearby security cameras would later reveal, the interaction between Clarkson and the officers started cordially enough. However, tensions escalated when officers demanded he cease his public statements about local council decisions.
No, and that's exactly what this phone-in is about, the sense that there is some special pleading. There is some special case, but I think that I'd probably meet that sense by saying, okay, you take half of what everybody else has to do. Half.
Half.
What happened next would become the spark that ignited a national powder keg. Clarkson, standing in his signature green wax jacket, delivered an impromptu speech that would soon go viral. This isn't just about my farm shop anymore.
You know what they say, if you're in a hole, stop digging.
This is about every farmer in Britain who's being strangled by red tape. This is about a political class that wouldn't know one end of a cow from another trying to tell us how to manage our land. And yes, Mr. Starmer, this is about your party's complete disconnection from rural Britain.
I wish people would leave Osh alone, because none of this is his fault.
Are you ready?
The arrest itself was captured in high definition by multiple sources, including drone footage from a local news team that happened to be in the area. The images of one of Britain's most recognizable faces being led away from his farm would become the day's most shared content across social media platforms. Local farmers who had gathered at the scene after word spread through community WhatsApp groups began a spontaneous protest. By midday, a convoy of tractors had assembled along the main road, creating what local media dubbed the Rural Revolution. The story might have remained a local curiosity had it not been for what happened next on social media. At exactly 2:15 p.m. GMT, Elon Musk posted a series of messages that would transform the narrative entirely. Watching Britain arrest its farmers while complaining about food security is peak 2024 irony. At Keir Starmer, explain this. This was followed by a more detailed thread that systematically dismantled the UK's current agricultural policies, comparing them unfavorably with successful farming nations worldwide. Musk's intervention wasn't just another celebrity hot take. It was a data-driven critique that resonated with both rural communities and urban consumers increasingly concerned about food prices and sustainability. The impact was immediate and measurable. Within the first hour, Musk's posts had been shared over 200,000 times. More significantly, They sparked a wave of data journalism as media outlets began investigating his claims about the decline of British farming under current policies. What followed wasn't just social media outrage, it was a coordinated movement that demonstrated the often overlooked sophistication of Britain's rural community. Farmers' unions across the country began releasing detailed impact assessments of current agricultural policies. In Yorkshire, fourth-generation farmer Margaret Brewster published a viral video breaking down the exact costs of regulatory compliance. "Every hour I spend filling out forms is an hour I'm not producing food. Last year I spent 1,200 hours on paperwork alone. That's 1,200 hours of lost productivity that you, the consumer, ultimately pay for." The National Farmers Union released previously unseen statistics revealing that regulatory compliance costs had increased by 312% since 2019. Small farm bankruptcies were up 78% year over year. Agricultural land reclassification for development had reached record levels. Food import dependency had increased by 23% in 5 years. Keir Starmer's initial response revealed a fundamental misunderstanding of the moment. His first public statement, delivered through a spokesperson, emphasized the importance of maintaining law and order, while completely sidestepping the underlying issues that had led to Clarkson's arrest. This triggered an unprecedented reaction within Labour's own ranks. Rural Labour MPs began publicly breaking with the party line. Sarah Henderson, MP for a marginal rural constituency, delivered a blistering speech in Parliament. "When we dismiss the concerns of our farming communities as mere celebrity publicity stunts, we prove their point about our disconnection from reality." The Conservative government, sensing an opportunity, initially tried to capitalize on the situation. However, their own record on agricultural policy came under scrutiny as farmers reminded the public that many of the problematic regulations had been introduced under their watch. Reform UK, sensing an opportunity, announced a new British Farming First policy platform, drawing unexpected support from both traditional Conservative and Labour voting areas. The story gained international traction when the EU's Agricultural Commissioner weighed in, suggesting that Britain's post-Brexit agricultural policies were creating an unsustainable burden on European food security. This intervention elevated what had started as a local protest into a debate about Britain's place in the global food supply chain. American media outlets began drawing parallels with their own farming protests, while Australian and New Zealand farming organizations offered public support for British farmers. Financial markets began responding to the uncertainty.
Because they are stark. According to a recent Ipsos poll, a staggering 61% of voters are now dissatisfied with Starmer's performance. Only 27% are satisfied. Amazed it's that high. That gives him a net satisfaction score of minus.
The pound sterling experienced its most volatile week since the mini-budget crisis, as investors reassessed Britain's food security and agricultural policy stability. Major supermarket chains were forced to release statements about their sourcing policies and farmer payment practices, leading to uncomfortable revelations about profit margins and pricing strategies. What began as a local planning dispute has exposed fundamental questions about British democracy, food security, and the urban-rural divide. The arrest of Jeremy Clarkson, amplified by Elon Musk's intervention, has become a catalyst for a long-overdue national conversation about the future of British agriculture and rural life. As protests continue and the petition calling for political reform surpasses 2 million signatures, it's clear this story is far from over. The question now isn't just about one farmer's arrest or one politician's response. It's about whether Britain can bridge the growing divide between its rural and urban populations before it's too late. Share your thoughts below on how Britain can better support its farming communities while ensuring food security for all. Subscribe for continuing coverage of this developing story and hit the notification bell to stay updated on the latest developments in this unprecedented political crisis.
that they got in because the Conservatives were hated.
Yeah.
And everything that Labour have done has now reminded everybody why the Tories were in power for 14 years. And somebody like Starmer